Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Butte-Silver Council of Commissioners Committee of the Whole meeting for Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. Clerk, please.
Nine present, one presiding, two absent.
Please let the record show that Commissioner Callahan and Sorich are excused. Commissioner Thatcher, will you lead us in the prayer and the pledge, please?
Almighty God, we implore you, look upon us and guide us this night as we make decisions which so greatly affect our community of Butte-Silver. Direct our thoughts, words, and deeds so that we please you and best serve our fellow citizens. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll ask for any public comment on any items on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the chair. First, I want to congratulate the Budget and Finance Department. They just received an award from the Government Finance Officers Association for fiscal year 2023, which is a pretty big award for that department. And so I just want to congratulate Director Gleason and her staff. And also I want to move into another announcement that we have our photos next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So I'm expecting Commissioner O'Neill to wear his hat and his suit. And then with that, we'll move into the Section 1, bid openings, public hearings, and presentations. One, communication number 2023-79, Dory Strukrud, Greenway Service District Project Manager, requesting Council of Commissioners approval for a bid opening for February 22nd, 2023, Committee of the Whole meeting for Silverbow Creek Greenway Reach Q&R Trail. County Attorney, do we have proof of publication?
Mr. Chairman, there is proof of publication, and it does appear to be in order.
All right. Ms. Strukrud?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I apologize for using our nomenclature, which is Reach Q&R. It's just something that we've carried over through the Superfund process. But this project, the project location starts at Crackerville Road and goes north to the Highway 1 interstate rest area. So it's approximately 2 miles, pretty simple trail, no bridges, but amenities, signs, regulatory signs, and things like that. So I realized when we talked, I just sort of Q and R, I know where it is, but perhaps you all don't. So we did receive 3 bids for this project. The first bid is from H&H Contracting, 501 Centennial Avenue, Butte. And this is I'm sorry, Eileen.
Mr. Chairman, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Okay.
I was going to say this is a lump sum bid to a single general contractor. The bid from H&H Contracting is $486,300. $486,300. 486,300.
486,300. Okay.
The second bid is from Hoffman R&M Services, 2100 Meadowlark Lane, Butte, Montana.
And Mr. Chairman, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
So from Hoffman R&M Services, Inc., their bid is $753,460.42. 753460.42.
Okay, 753-460.42.
Correct. And the final bid is from R&S Johnson Construction, 3563 Lost Creek Road, Anaconda. See, I can't use this silly thing.
Mr. Chairman, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Okay, thank you.
So from R&S Johnson Construction, their bid is $774,599.30. 774,599.30.
All right. 774-599.30.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would make a motion to refer communication number 2023-79, the bids to the Greenway Services for their evaluation.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you very much. Doreen, do you have an engineering estimate for this project?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Anderson, yes, we do. It is, the engineer's estimate is $821,000, 821,000.
All right. Follow up, Commissioner Anderson.
And are they going to be having some restrooms that they're going to be building out on in this section?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Anderson, members of the commission, this does not have a restroom facility associated with it. It is served by the Highway 1 rest area. We actually have had some designated parking at the Highway 1 rest area for years, and of course, obviously, the facilities are there. The next restroom facility is the one that we built in 2022, which is south of German Gulch Road, so it's a little over 3 miles between. I think it's a pretty reasonable distance between facilities.
Okay. All right. Can commissioners please vote? Clerk, may you record the vote?
10 yea, 0 nay. 0 nay.
10 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving to section 2, communications. Communication number 2023-45, Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence in the establishment of the Property Demolition Assistance Program in Butte-Silver. We recently received a couple edits to that application, and I believe we would like to hold this, but I will refer to the Chief Executive if he wants to speak on it.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson, Commissioners. Yes, I had that sent out last week right before we had our meeting, thinking we were going to speak to it. I thought that we had sent it out to everybody, including the county attorney and stuff, to make sure that we had that. We don't have that. That did not happen. So we'd like to have until the next committee of the whole to get everything vetted out and done correctly.
Okay. Yep, that sounds good to me. We'll move on to communication number 2023-59. Oh, sorry. I apologize. Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. I'd just like to voice a little bit of this, of my opinions, not so much my concerns, but I think the form has got a little, I mean, this started out as a simple project months ago for $225,000. And I have some concerns about the scoring system and things like that. And I mean, I just think we made the bureaucracy out of this thing instead of keeping it simple. You know, I like that KISS, keep it simple, stupid, which I am, but I just don't see how this is gonna work when people wanna apply for money. If they got a $40,000 house built to tear down a house and we're gonna give them 25,000, they can't come up with the other 15, that's all been wasted time. I mean, you know, it's not gonna work. The people that want these houses demoed, that own them, they don't have no money. That's why they're in the situation they're in, and I just think this form you know, we got all the terms and conditions in there and contingencies, and I think we're really muddying the waters more than ever on this type of thing. And I mean, I'm open to suggestions, but the way I see this as it is right now is, I don't see any way in the world how we can make this work. People applying that and then scoring, and I mean, I just think there's gotta be a simpler way to do this, and I'm not totally against it, but I just think at this time would be a good time to have a further discussion about what the commission thinks we should be doing, and, you know, I just don't like the way this is going, and I don't like, and I'll just tell you my opinion in terms of conditions. We had $225,000. In my opinion, we could tear down 4 or 5 houses for $40,000 or $50,000 and be done. Well, what we're doing now is we're kicking this down the road and keep kicking it down the road. Pretty soon, we're gonna be in the next budget season, and I don't know if we're gonna have anything tore down. So I just wanted to voice my concerns and my ideas that maybe we should try to move this forward in a simpler manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. Frederickson. I agree with Fish and all that, and, you know, we've had numerous discussions about this. We get the public money, we get this, we get that. But the thing about it is every time that something comes up, you know, with the hats off to JP and all that, with the initial scenario, there are some houses that are going down, and you wouldn't believe the response that throughout the community that's been recognized and all that. But it was supposed to be a nice, simple deal, basically, that this $225,000, thanks to Butte-Silver and Danette Gleason, like Fish said, was earmarked for these properties again and all that. And it could be so simple. There's got to be, we go to the assessor, we say, do you have 4 or 5 houses that are ready to be demolished and all that stuff? Basically, they're ready to be demolished because they can't be fixed, and people can't afford to demolish them. End of story. This is what the money was earmarked for, not for scoring points. I get public money, but this is a scenario that basically this was earmarked for demolition only. And you've seen the progress that's been made. I'm getting the eye from the county attorney here. But the thing about it is that public money is public money, but also, we you know, like Fish says, we'll be at the next budget, we'll still be sitting there and all that. There are houses going down, thanks to the recognition that we do have an issue with this. But people want to see more, and they know this money's out there. And now with these applications and everything, we made it a basic, I'm not going to I'm going to use the word travesty, about spending this small amount of money. And it is a small amount of money that we're dealing with. But you go through these neighborhoods where these houses are gone, go by Placer Street. There was one, Town Pump finally got one over there on Aluminum. Harrison Avenue, one's gone and all that stuff. Did they have grant money from this program? No. So, you know, the heat's being put on by the department and all that stuff to finally recognize that they have to tear these places down or basically do something with them. So I think that in all of Butte, Montana right now, we have 4 or 5 houses that would be ready to go if we did our research. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reardon. I'll make a comment. As much as you know, we don't like terms and conditions, I believe we do need some sort of rules in place when we're handing out the public's money. So I feel your frustration, but I think that once we establish the program and get the rules in place, the next time it goes around, it'll move a lot smoother and a lot quicker. But I think that this is just the pains of creating this program. But I understand your frustration, but we do need rules and an application in place, and we need to make sure that it's that we're following all the laws in place. So, Chief Executive Gallagher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson and Commissioners, and I understand, some of your thoughts, but I will say this, I asked for commissioners to send me your comments, and Commissioner Shea and Commissioner Sorich were the only ones that sent me anything. And so I welcome any comments that you have, and we can look at that stuff, but I only received anything back from 2 commissioners on this. So please do. We have a couple weeks here that we're going to look at this a little bit more and talk about it some more, and we'll work through this. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you're good? Okay. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to clarify that the suggestions that came from me included suggestions from Commissioner Reardon, too,
Yes.
just for the record.
Yeah.
I sent him in yeah.
All right. Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. Thank you, JP. I appreciate everything you're doing and getting this done. But like I said, why can't we follow the same process and procedure we followed over here at Park Street? I mean, we do the same, get them people to make agreement with us and get the house tore down. I mean, there was no big form filled out on that or anything. I mean, I realized the rescue mission and that was a heated thing, and I was all for what we done, and I think it was a great thing, but I think we're just putting way too much into this that don't need to be put in for the $225,000. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll let County Attorney Joyce comment on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the program was kind of written looking at like the SARTA program and also like the Hard Rock program. But I just want to point out that just as was talked about in the presentation a couple weeks ago, we don't condemn properties. And if it's a condemnation, you're talking about eminent domain where you compensate people for taking their property. And the reason that the Park Street property followed the dangerous building ordinance and there was a notice given, people do have property rights, and if we're not using our regulatory process through the dangerous building, and this is a program that's separate from that, there's been a lot of discussion among staff as to whether or not it could be also, this money could also be used for people that have received a dangerous building notice, but it was also discussed whether or not it could be used by people that didn't receive a dangerous building notice. Maybe it doesn't meet some of those requirements, but there is some problems with the structure and they want some assistance with the demolition. But in that case, it has to come from the property owner. It has to be a request from them because the government isn't using its regulatory process. And when we do use our regulatory ordinances, then there is, due process that is required, that people have an opportunity to appeal that notice, and they have an opportunity to provide an abatement plan that may not include demolition.
Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Commissioner Frederickson. So, County Attorney Joyce, are you saying that the money then would be used for repair instead of abatement or demolition? So we're using this 225 for possibly, just clarification.
Yeah. Commissioner Mankins, County Attorney Joyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Mankins, no, I think the commissioners made it clear that it's a demolition program, but I'm saying under the dangerous building ordinance, the notice is to repair or demolish, and people always have the option typically to do repairs. We don't go straight to demolition, so they can have a right to provide an abatement plan. And that abatement plan can be to repair the structure, and we wouldn't require a demolition under that regulatory process unless they didn't complete the repairs or came back and said that they couldn't do the repairs, and then we might move to demolition, which is what happened in the Park Street.
Follow-up, Commissioner Mankins.
So follow up with that, so for instance, just for an example, so if I had one of these houses and I went and I filled out the information and the house and I wanted to go to like the URA to ask for some repairs money, I was granted so many dollars, and then all of a sudden I couldn't finish that project, and then it still could be demolished with that kind of a waste of URA money? Is that what could that happen, County Attorney Joyce?
Commissioner Mankins. Chief Executive Gallagher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson and Commissioner Mankins. I think part of that criteria is have you received grant funding as part of this too in the application, so it kind of clarifies if they had done that. And so the committee that's going to be formed will actually get to review these, and so that would be weighted on what the grant program would be there. And so I would, that information would be brought forward.
Commissioner Reardon.
I'm kind of totally confused here after we visited with this ordinance. So this ordinance has just been unbelievably, I guess, the interpretation and all that. So what I just heard is that basically we have the same ordinance, but it pertains in two different factors to homes and also a different factor to buildings. And I think that here we go again is the fact that we don't want to go there. We just want to see something happen. I mean, we got committees, we got studies and all this other stuff, and I get the deal on the private owner. We've been through all this when we started over there. It's just getting where everything that we look at is, and I agree with Commissioner Fisher, is just so controversial, or it's got to go. And I get that too, but I mean, what I just heard about this ordinance, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we have one ordinance, now it applies, one side of it applies to buildings, and the other side applies to houses. Well, basically, this ordinance should cover the whole entity or the entire concept of what we're looking at when we're demolishing these buildings. Is that correct?
Commissioner Reardon, so I believe the ordinance is, when they talk about a building, they're talking about a residential building or a commercial building. Buildings as a whole.
Right.
Yeah, there's no distinction between a home and a commercial building.
Okay, but didn't I hear that there was just, maybe I missed something? Did I miss something, or
Yeah,
did I misinterpret this
yeah.
ordinance? It seems to be the going
Yeah.
thing.
County Attorney Joyce. Yeah, I don't know. The ordinance is, when they talk about buildings, is residential and commercial. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying
It's
about
all
there-
buildings, yeah.
Okay, I get that, but didn't I just hear that there was, sometimes they use one for buildings and one for houses?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Maybe it's the flashback days, I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah. Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. I'm just gonna add one more thing. You know how I am about these too many cooks in the kitchen, all that kind of stuff, but wouldn't there be a simple form that they could just submit to the council, and the council could either approve or disapprove the thing? I mean, do we have to go through this 3-page form right now, telling people what they can and can't do with their property? I mean, let's face it, if they want to tear it down, get a bid from a private contractor. If they want to tear down their property and they get a bid from a private contractor, submit it to the council. If we want to give them 20, 40, 80,000 to tear it down, and we all agree to do that, why can't we simplify and just do that? Instead of having to go through this scoring system of 35, 20, 20. I mean, let's face it. You know, anytime you get into that, it's it gets complex, and you're gonna end up giving a guy $20,000 that has $40,000 job. He ain't gonna be able to cover the other $20,000. We're not gonna get nowhere. I mean, this is what's gonna happen. The reason these people aren't tearing these down is because they can't afford to. That's the reason they aren't tearing them down, so.
Yeah, Chief Executive Gallagher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson and Commissioner Fisher. I don't think we have a limitation on the form of how much that we can award. So I think that the committee could do that. And again, you can send in suggestions to do that. But there are some things within dangerous buildings and things like that. If we're going to go through demolition, and I know Commissioner Reardon knows that there are provisions in there that does it have historic preservation review. The only way you cannot go to that is if there's a safety exclusion on that building, which is in the historic preservation ordinance. And you know as well as I do, you were here when all of this was put into place. There's some, there's some wording in there that makes it hard to really define. And I think that's the hardest thing for everybody as we're moving forward here. And so I don't think anyone's trying to limit anyone's ability to try to tear down some of these buildings. But again, we got to protect ourselves by law, and that's the biggest thing as we're going forward. We got to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's so that we don't end up in some type of litigious situation.
Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. And I know we're kicking this horse around. I'm going to be done with it. But by forming another committee, that's just another step. Why not bring it right to the council? It's $225,000. Put in a simple form. I want to tear down my house. I need $50,000. Yes or no? Simple as that. Here's the contract. Here's an RFP, RFQ. I got it from a licensed bonded contractor. I want to tear down my house. It's burnt down. I want to tear it down. I got a bid sheet right here. He said it's going to cost $45,000. And then we can go through the process of everybody else. And then if we don't get through the process, whether it's historic preservation or whoever else, then we can go through that. But what I'm saying is, what's going to happen is we're going to go through all this process, and then we're not going to get the end result. That's my fear, is we're going to go through this process and not get an end result. Why don't we get the people to submit, and then we'll tell them yes or no if they're getting the money, and then they can go jump through all the hoops you got to jump through. But I mean, to jump through all the hoops and then get here and say we're 20,000 short, that to me don't make much sense. Thank you.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you, Chairman. So just sitting here listening to all this, which is a great conversation. Trusting the process is obviously a horrible thing and that we deal with, but way I'm looking at this also is that, we are, let's talk about skin in the game for somebody that wants their house, building, whatever, property torn down. And we're going to, this is a grant to them, which again, it helps the, beautify the community if these are torn down, which I'm totally for. Hopefully that the committees that are on, or the committee that is formed to do this is hopefully gonna look at that. If it's 50 grand, they want to make this happen, they're gonna give them the 50 grand, okay? And then it does come back to us. It does come back to the commission to stamp it. I mean, there has to be some sort of process for people to come get free money. This is a favor to them, right? Like, we got to look at it that way also. Like, this is an opportunity for them and our community for this money. So, the application isn't that bad, really. I mean, I know there's some pages, but I feel like if I'm in this process and I want my building torn down and I can't go through this process and I can't fill this out, I feel like you don't deserve the money. I hope it goes on back taxes because you're not capable and want to put it forth the little time that it would take, if you will. I agree. I know the process sucks and it's hard to, I'm with you guys too. Let's go get the bulldozer and go tear them down tonight. I'm in, but I just looking in this conversation that there's got to be a little bit of buy-in from these people too. They got to have some skin in the game. This skin in the game to go this process is not that bad, in my opinion. It might take longer than we may want, but I don't know, let's make sure Mr. Fisher's on that committee so we can get these things rolling. And with that being said, I just wanted to say on the record, I did email JP, I did email you back saying I like the application to move forward, so I just wanted to put that on record. And thank you for letting me talk.
Commissioner Reardon.
Yes, I'd like to call for a vote on communication number 2023-45.
Commissioner Reardon, I believe with the county attorney hasn't been able to review the comments on the application, so we'll need to hold this
That's
until.
what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, so we don't have to vote on a hold.
Okay, oh, you're just going, okay, great,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep. Is there anything further discussion? All right. Great discussion. We'll move on. Communication number 2023-59, Amy Steinmetz, Waste Management and Remediation Division Administrator, requesting council commissioners for time on the agenda for DEQ Project Manager Dave Bowers to discuss the next steps at Montana Pole and Treatment Plant Superfund site and answer questions that the commissioners may have. We had that presentation last Wednesday. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would like to make a motion to place communication number 2023-59 on file.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Can commissioners please vote? Clerk, will you record the vote?
10 yea, 0 nay. 0 nay.
10 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. 3, communication number 2023-73, Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners to schedule a bid opening for March 1st, 2023 for the Excelsior Avenue Reconstruction Project. We will hold that for the bid opening next week. 4, communication number 2023-83, Kristen Rosa, TIFID Administrator, requesting Council of Commissioners approval for a bid opening for March 8th, 2023 for a bid relocating a dirt pile in Montana Connection Park to Solvay property. We will hold this for the bid opening on March 8th. 5, communication number 2023-86, Danette Gleason, Finance and Budget Director, requesting Council of Commissioners approval for a presentation on March 8th, 2023 to present the fiscal year 2022 annual comprehensive financial report, schedule of federal awards, and related audit opinions. We will hold that for the presentation on March 8th. 6, communication number 2023-90, Lisa Carey, Office of Emergency Management, requesting Council of Commissioners approval to hold a public hearing on March 1st, 2023 for the purpose of amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget to allow for increased expenditures of unanticipated revenue to attend the annual IAFC Hazmat Conference in Baltimore, Maryland. This proof of publication was not able to go out to the newspaper. They changed their policy on submitting these, so we will have to have a new communication with the date. So, Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would like to make a motion to note and place on file communication number 2023-90.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Can commissioners please vote? Clerk, will you record the vote?
10 yea, 0 nay.
10 yea, 0 nay. 0 nay. Motion passes. 7, communication number 2023-91, Lisa Carey, Office of Emergency Management, requesting Council of Commissioners approval to hold a public hearing on March 1st, 2023 for unanticipated revenue, hazardous material, emergency preparedness, HMEP grant to facilitate a command and control seminar in Butte, Montana. This is the same with the previous communication, wasn't able to get into the newspaper for the public notice on time. So Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would make a motion to note and place on file communication number 2023-91.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Can commissioners please vote? Clerk, will you record the vote?
10 yea, 0 nay.
10 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. 9, communication number 2023-96, Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting council commissioners' approval for a bid opening on March 1st, 2023 for the 2023 sidewalk program. We will hold that for next week. Oh, I missed one. Sorry. We'll go back to 8. Communication number 2023-92, Lisa Carey, Office of Emergency Management, requesting Council of Commissioners approval to hold a public hearing on March 1st, 2023 for unanticipated revenue, hazardous material emergency preparedness, HMEP grant to host a 40-hour ERTI hazmat response regional training in Butte, Montana. And this is the same situation with the previous 2 communications. So Commissioner Shea.
At this time, I would like to make a motion to note and place on file communication number 2023-92.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? We'll vote. Clerk, will you record the vote?
10 yea, 0 nay.
10 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. We're holding the next communication, so we'll move to 10, communication number 2023-97, Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners approval for a bid opening on March 1st, 2023 for the 2023 asphalt supply public works. We will hold that for the bid opening next Wednesday. I will now ask for public comment on any public matter not on the agenda. Seeing none, I would just also like to point out before we adjourn that Southwest Montana Central Labor Council will be having a rally on March 4th at the Carpenters Union Hall. Is there anything else that commissioners would like to bring up? Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. Frederickson. I'd just like to, I was listening to Chief Executive Gallagher on his travels back from Helena, and basically want to thank him for representing Butte-Silver against the right to work law in Montana. I was involved in labor for quite a few years, and people don't realize how big this is, the benefiting that people wouldn't have, the rules and all that. It isn't a fair battlefield and all that. And with this deal on March 4th, I think everybody, especially in Butte, the history that we have, whether you're for or not, everybody has their opinions, but it's something because right now, unionism representation, I would say, is the word, has gone down quite drastically for the facting that people don't want to pay the wages and the benefit for the qualified workers that they have. So I've been up there before. This has been going on for a long time, but I'll tell you what, this is a big one coming up this year and the next year because the struggle is on. And once they get this, you basically lose your right to negotiate your situation, your HR rights, are covered federally and all that. It's a whole big balloon that covers Butte, Silver Bow, Butte, Montana, all over the country. And right now, there's 28 states in the union that already have enacted this law. So, if you got something, or you got some time on March 4th, I recommend that, it's a Saturday, 1 o'clock, is to support these young men. They're out there and all that. They're trying to do what's right. They're out there making a living. And thanks to the taxpayers of Butte-Silver Bowl for paying wages and benefits that they do to the people that help out through the entire community. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well said, Commissioner Reardon. Commissioner Fisher?
Thank you, Chairman. Just like to remind everybody, tomorrow night, the chamber dinner's at the Civic Center. I won't be able to attend, but anyone should know anyone. It's a worthwhile cause, and support the Butte Chamber if you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to piggyback on what Commissioner Reardon said. Whether you're in a union or not in a union, you have a union to thank for the protections that you have, for the safety regulations that you have, for the weekends, for the 8-hour workdays. So union or not, you should be out there supporting unions.
Thank you, Commissioner Shea. Anything else? All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye? All opposed?